Classic Resto's Trucks Edition Series 2, proudly brought to you by Gleeman Truck Parts, Premier One Products, and Shannon's Insurance, where you can become a member of the Shannon's Club.
Venture Southland presents Meeting Karpovsky, starring legendary performers Helen Mulder and Sir John Trimmer. Sylvia used to travel the world and its famous ballet theatres. Now she is alone with her daughter's unwanted possessions and photographs of her favourite ballet dancer, Alexander Karpovsky. One day, Karpovsky mysteriously appears and begins to teach the stumbling Sylvia to dance and to live. View this rare chance to view two of New Zealand's iconic performers. One night only, Thursday 7th of May, as part of the Southland Festival of the Arts at SIT Centre Stage Theatre. Tickets are available at QTV, SIT Arcade, 25 Don Street.
Kia ora, good evening. Prime Minister John Key made a visit to Invercargill yesterday to talk aquaculture and to congratulate a Southland-based trust on its services. The Nakete Charitable Trust was congratulated by the Prime Minister for its long list of impressive results, including the low-cost GP service launched by the Trust earlier this year. The Trust has signed 900 clients to the service and made over 23,000 health engagements during 2014. During his visit, the Prime Minister visited the New Zealand Bluff Oyster Company, followed by a meeting in Southport to discuss the region's aquaculture growth. Key said in terms of Southland's economy, the region was performing well in its agriculture sectors and tourism. A homeless shelter is set to open in Invercargill this year, looking to test a new formula for helping people get back on their feet. Sharon Rees has more.
Invercargill's Salvation Army Men's Hostel closed its doors in 2012 after it was found the building was earthquake prone. But after a recent report found the building wasn't as bad as initially thought, the Salvation Army began plans to dig in and turn the building around.
It started when we watched a couple of people who we were struggling to keep a home, ending up sleeping rough, and we were taking them to campgrounds and to hotels and figuring out that actually they were running out of opportunities, running out of a place to stay. Everyone shifted out after the Christchurch earthquake because of compliance, but apparently it's not as bad as they had thought. Engineers' reports are much more positive. However, if you look around the building, high ceilings, there's holes in the walls, there's quite a lot of work we'd have to do to get it right. And if we're going to operate it as a wing, as we're planning to, then we'll need to put a staircase so that we can have some of it secure.
So not a lot of structural work needs to be done then?
Not external work, no. It's just internal, which is great.
But once the work is done, the shelter will be testing a different method of helping people than what was done at the former shelter.
We think about homeless people, and I guess in our heads we think they're the ones who are sleeping in Queen's Park. But actually there's a whole range. There are people who are couch surfing, there are people who've ended up in a case of emergency. In Invercargill, we even get people who drive in their cars. Life goes wrong, and they get in their car and they drive as far south as they come here, run out of money, and what do? Well, we want to provide a place so, okay, you don't have to sleep in your car. We'll give you just enough time to catch your breath, figure out what the next step is, and we'll lead you into that. We found that some people kind of moved in and stayed almost for life in the previous system. What we want to do is provide a breathing space for people, a chance to come in, do their laundry, figure out what the next step is. So we'll only be planning to take people 3 to 5 days, short period of time, enough time to build a relationship and connect with the agencies who are here to help.
While progress for the building remains steady, there's still plenty of work to be done.
The exciting part is we have enough money to get going, And the scary part is there's so much work to do. Part of it is to this facility. It's a fantastic place, but it's going to need a heap of work. And the other bit is we need to employ a support worker and get our policies in order so it happens well. We'll be working cooperatively with the Sallies there. Got a great track record here.
Colin said despite the amount of work, he's determined to have the shelter up and running in 3 months' time. Sharon Rees, South Today News.
Stay with us. After the break, we wrap up 19 years of broadcasting with some familiar faces.
Venture Southland presents Meeting Karpovsky, starring legendary performers Helen Mulder and Sir John Trimmer. Sylvia used to travel the world and its famous ballet theatres. Now she is alone with her daughter's unwanted possessions and photographs of her favourite ballet dancer, Alexander Karpovsky. One day, Karpovsky mysteriously appears and begins to teach the stumbling Sylvia to dance and to live. View this rare chance to view two of New Zealand's iconic performers. One night only, Thursday 7th of May, as part of the Southland Festival of the Arts at SIT Centre Stage Theatre. Tickets are available at QTV, SIT Arcade, 25 Don Street.
At Players we know there is more than one reason to celebrate. So it follows, there is more than one way to party. And more than one way to cater. For all your event management, Players, 25 Tay Street in Invercargill. Your function, your event, our venue.
Feed me up, Bernie.
Give love and luck. Receive this cloverleaf charm as a gift. With purchase of a charm bracelet, Thomas Sabo, charm up your love.
PowerNet is building a 21st century electricity network for Southland.
Starting in 2014, PowerNet is going to be replacing your old electricity meters with new smart meters for free. This is the biggest network investment for over a decade and will make it simpler to identify faults and manage supply to you. Our contractors will be in touch to install the future of electricity metering in your home or business soon.
For more information, visit www.powernet.co.nz/smart meters.
Welcome back. From Mercury Television to QTV, 19 years of broadcast has come to an end. As of today, QTV will change the way it operates as the company switches its focus from broadcasting to being a production company. The news of the station's broadcast coming to an end was met with many well wishes from people who have watched us, known us and worked with us over nearly 2 decades.
QTV has been a huge part of the local entertainment scene. For musicians, it's huge because we don't get airplay on a national level. You know, we don't get the time of day to go on the major broadcasters. And so with Q, we could sort of ring up and say, "Have you guys got time to put us on?" And 90% of the time it would be like, "Yeah, come on in, and we'll promote whatever dinky little thing you got going." So the very first ever sort of publicity that Into the East got was when we were sketch a little covers duo, and Graham and I were sort of reminiscing about it the other day, and I was really pregnant with my first child about 8 years ago, and had just like a big sweat halo and crazy hair from morning sickness, but we came in and we're on the end of the lifestyle program, I think it was, and played a couple of original songs, really super shaky, and hope you like what we're doing. And it was awesome. It gave us our first idea of what is expected with TV broadcasting. So it was really cool. So it's sad to see Q go, but we thank you guys for everything that you've done for musicians down here. Yeah.
When regional television started in Southland, I was really lucky to be part of it at the beginning, and it changed Southland's landscape, and it changed the way that we looked at ourselves. It came at a time when we were also starting off with zero fees, so there were whole lots of new young people coming to town, and we were looking at ourselves with more positivity. And through regional television, it's all very well to see something in a newspaper or hear about it on a radio, but when you can see and hear it, the emotional contact with people is so much stronger. And to see residents who they would run into all the time on television was really powerful. The 1998 local government elections were largely run via regional television. At that stage, Mercury was still fairly new and had really high viewership, and there were 42, I think, candidates that were standing for Invercargill City Council alone. And television was a really effective way of people getting to know those people and to see how they reacted to questions and to situations. And people in that year who performed well on television became part of a new council. At that stage, they turfed out half of the previous council and put Mayor Shadbolt back in, and he stayed there ever since, and turned over 6 of 12 councillors. So it played a significant role. And there were a lot of entertainment shows that featured just a huge depth of Southland talent, and because it became a co-broadcast with SIT, we had a good number of hours seeing Southlanders on air, and then when the ability came to see it broadcast on a nationwide platform, it was really a chance to showcase. And you know, using the Invercargill City Council as an example, when we ran City Talk, we would get feedback from other parts of the country going, oh gee, we wish our councils would do this. And it's not just about the fact that people would phone up and complain about something. It was the fact that they had the opportunity to do that, or to let people know about what was going on. So it's been a huge community asset, and I think played a significant role in developing a sense of community again, and it's developed some pretty significant broadcasting careers for quite a few people as well. Those who've worked here and those who've come and volunteered. Regional television has added a lot of weight to what the Southern Institute of Technology has been able to do as well, and that's really changed the landscape of both Invercargill and Southland. So it's been huge. It's going to leave a big gap.
SIT has partnered with QTV to provide our Sit to Learn program by Q screening that program via television. But over the past 10 years, things move on, and now we're in a position where we just want to wish QTV all the best with their production facility going forward.
Right, before we show you some of the images that tell the years that were, let's take a look at the weather.
Nominations are open for the 2015 Southland Environment Awards. This year marks the 20th year of the awards, and Environment Southland wants to hear about anyone who's making a difference in our region. Individuals, schools, farmers, community groups and businesses. If that's you or someone you know, get an entry form and let's recognise and celebrate these environmental achievers. Entries close May 1st. Contact Environment Southland for details today.
And taking a look at the weather for today, Friday the 10th of April. Temperatures around the country at 3 o'clock, 24 for Auckland, Wellington on 19 degrees, a little cooler in Christchurch on 12, 15 for Dunedin, 16 in Queenstown. Stewart Island had the low today of 9 degrees and Invercargill 13. Taking a look at tomorrow, fine with high cloud inland, a few showers about the coast with westerlies gradually strengthening. Winton Wyndham and Riverton all chasing a high of 13 tomorrow. Invercargill expecting a high of 14 degrees and Gore 13. And for nightcaps in Te Anau, 14 degrees and overnight low of 7 in nightcaps tonight. And in the marine forecast for Fovo, southwest 15 knots to northwest 30 knots, southwest swell of 2 metres and rough sea at times, fair visibility in showers. And for Pusiga, there's a gale warning in force, southwest 15 knots, northwest 25 knots, southwest swell of 3 metres becoming very rough and fair visibility in showers. Looking ahead to the long-range forecast for Sunday, a period of rain and in the morning followed by scattered showers and winds turning colder to westerlies, strong about the coast, and Monday showery with hail, snow down to 400 metres and strong cold southwesterlies. And for Tuesday, showers, cold southwesterlies, and they'll be strong in exposed places. Well, it's been an absolute privilege to have you watch us from home, and tonight we're leaving you with some snippets from the past 19 years of broadcasting. From us here on the news team, it's a final good night and goodbye.
Venture Southland presents The Pianist, a solo circus performance centred on, in, under and around that most magnificent of instruments, the grand piano. Thomas Monckton uses his humorous, gangly physique, impeccable clowning skills and comedic timing to great effect. A charming family show that will have you in stitches. Don't miss this one-night-only performance at Centre Stage Theatre on Wednesday the 29th of April. Tickets are available at QTV SIT Arcade, 25 Don Street. Need a car park? Need storage? Look no further than Storage on Clyde. Adjacent to the CBD and so easily accessible. Short-term or long-term parking and storage available. The rates on offer are the best value. We're keen to discuss your requirements and show you what's available. Call now.
At Players we know there is more than one reason to celebrate. So it follows there is more than one way to party. And more than one way to cater. For all your event management, Players, 25 Tay Street, Invercargill. Your function, your event, our venue.
Sterling Silver and Karma Beats.
PowerNet offers a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week fault service.
Dim or flickering lights are a sign that something is wrong with your electricity connection. The first thing you should do is turn off or unplug as many appliances as possible. Then call our faults number 0800 808 587. If you see anything unusual on our network, then call our on-screen number 24/7.
Visit our website for more information, www.powernet.co.nz, and click on the Safety tab.
Welcome along to the last edition of South Today Sport. Now, 19 years ago, the very first guest I ever interviewed on a sports show on our channel was an up-and-coming referee by the name of Paddy O'Brien. It was at Rugby Park Stadium. Well, we're back here at the same venue with the same guest for our last chat. Back in 96, Super 15 had just started as it was then, or Super 12.
Yeah, I think I left the police in 95, worked here at Rugby Southland, and then moved on to Sports Southland, and then on to full-time refereeing. So, yeah, Super Rugby commenced in 1996.
And you were in charge for the very first game?
Yeah, that's something which actually stays in the memory bank. You know, do a lot of games, but that's one that does stay in the memory bank, and that was in Palmerston North. First ever game of professional rugby in the world. The Blues versus the Hurricanes, and the Blues came out the winners from memory, and the first try ever scored in Super Rugby by Alama Iramia.
That was my next question. Yeah. So you've got a great memory. Other memory was of a great crowd, because it was a new concept and people took to it straight away.
Yeah, it was hyped up, it was huge. You know, you had all the razzmatazz, the dancing girls, the fireworks, and the teams run out amongst the smoke, and it was, you know, it was like it was the creation of what we have now.
Do you remember it being a level up on other domestic football you'd referee?
Yeah, the pace of the game. What clearly, and it's even quicker now, but the players had more time in the gym, they had more time getting fit. Full-time athletes compared with what they were in the past, where, you know, they played what was called the NPC in those days, and obviously were part-time.
You were full-time in the gym as well, were you?
Oh, not in the gym, but out on the road. Yeah, no, myself and Colin Hawke were the first two referees to be signed on. Big move for us as well, because all of a sudden, it's something we look back on now. We were the blueprint for referees after us. We had to find out, what do you do with your time? How do you become full-time? So that was a challenge in its own.
Things go around in circles. I think that same year you'd been to Hong Kong for the Sevens, and you've just got back from Hong Kong at the Sevens. Not a lot changes in some respects.
No, I mean, it's been a roller coaster. I've done the full circle, and what has that been for about the last 20 years? So, yeah, rugby's been my life for the last 20 years, and it's been fantastic.
Well, you look at Hong Kong was the Sevens tournament, the only one people took much notice of in those days, but now it's a full circus, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I mean, you've got some really big tournaments. Dubai is huge. London's becoming like, they get 75,000 on day one in London now at Twickenham, so it's become a very big tournament. To me, Hong Kong's still the best, though. It's sort of the crown jewel of the Sevens. But now leading into Rio in 2016, it's really gained momentum, and gained a lot of momentum in the women's series, because, you know, women's 15s, you can say what you like, is not the greatest product at times, but women's sevens is something else.
And it's a development area for referees, isn't it? It's a stepping stone. Do you still see it as that?
Yeah. We have amongst I've got 13 referees at the moment, of which I'm going to take 12 to Rio. We started with 24, and over the 4-year cycle we've eliminated them. For some, they'll go on to be Super Rugby refs. There's 3 of them doing Super Rugby now. There's a couple doing Europe. And then I've got 4 or 5 specialist sevens refs, and that will be their career. It'll be on the Sevens circuit. But a huge career for them now. We do 10 stopovers on the men's and 6 on the women's. So it is a full-time commitment.
If you look at a Super Rugby game now and compare it with that first game, in terms of laws and interpretations, is it radically different?
I think what's different is the way they play the game. I mean, you've got a lot better defence systems. There's just not the space. I went up to the Highlanders Crusaders game, Highlanders Crusaders game earlier this year. I hadn't been for a long time. I could not get over the lack of space on the field, and you've got forwards out amongst the backs, etc. So it's a different product. Whether it's a better product is up for people to make up their own mind. I mean, when we first started, it was pretty loose, and you used to have, up north I call it pyjama rugby. But I still think the beauty we have down here, we've still got players with multi-skills, and we still do see a damn good product when they want to play.
A few years ago, penalty try a year was a thing. Now it's once a week. Is that an area of concern for you?
Look, I'm old school. I don't like the TMO, to be honest. I think a referee should be out there making decisions, and we should live and die by them. But on the counter argument of that is that if they get it wrong, coaches are saying, well, everyone else at home could see they were wrong. Why can't you? So it's evolving. I think you'll find that what they call the TMO now will evolve even further after the World Cup. But I'd like to see the referee take more responsibility for decision making rather than going upstairs and putting it back on someone else.
Now you're leaving a legacy in refereeing. Your son's doing a very good job. You must be very proud of the way that he's progressed. Yeah, he's done very well on the Sevens circuit especially. He'd be one of my leading, top 3 or 4 Sevens refs in the world, and just starting to learn and apply his training out in Super 15. So, I mean, he's got a wee way to go in Super 15, but he's certainly keen and, on the right track to doing well. What about around New Zealand, the depth of referees coming through? As you say, you started it off. Do you look around and see a lot of promise? Yes and no. It's again a generation change. I think you've got Glenn Jackson and Chris Pollock going to the World Cup. We've got a young fellow, a couple, Nick Bryant, Ben O'Keefe, that are doing well on the Super Rugby. Underneath that, I'm not so sure. So it's a worry all around the world. It's not just New Zealand about the recruitment and retention of referees. So they're not dropping out of trees. In Australia, like Steve Walsh retires out of the blue almost, they haven't got a lot of depth to cover that sort of experience. No, they haven't, and they've had to rebuild, and that's part of where Matt's involved. It's not only that, probably the country that's producing the best referees at the moment is South Africa and France. But underneath that, I mean, every other country, your England, your Wales, and the ones that used to, have a lot of depth are all struggling as well. So it is a concern for rugby going forward. But having said that, it goes in cycles. So I'm sure there'll be someone put their hand up. It's a great career, isn't it? I mean, I think Glenn Jackson's proving that he's had 2 careers, and other players may consider a similar line. Yeah, exactly. And it's got to be something that's a passion, and Glenn's got a real passion for it. And you only got to watch him when he referees; he loves it. Technically, he's still learning, but he loves the game, and it's in him. So rather than go coaching, he decided to go down the referee path. So I think you're right that we may find more people doing that. Look at the Sevens game and how it has evolved, and what's wonderful is that it's no longer just a New Zealand-Fiji contest. We saw New Zealand get beaten by Canada, Australia by Portugal. You've got the world taking part. Yeah, and I think you're right. I think that the other thing that's great about it, I mean, let's be honest, the Rugby World Cup itself will be won by one of 6 teams. The Olympic gold medal, no one knows, because as you say, Canada beat New Zealand the other day, USA beat South Africa. You've got all those types of scenarios happening. The women, USA and Canada, are very strong. The woman, although New Zealand is strong there as well. It's 7 minutes each way, bounce the ball stuff. So there's a lot more room for upset in a game of sevens than there is in 15s. I think it's another one of the attractions. And of course, maybe a handful of years ago, we'd have said New Zealand was odds on for gold, definitely a medal. We've got to be a bit careful about that. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what Gordon does with his team, how many All Blacks are available, how many he picks, compared with the squad he's got now, who are, have done very well, considering what, the players he's brought in to actually have qualified. I think they're safe now with 2 tournaments to go, that they've qualified the team for the Olympics. And after the Rugby World Cup, my understanding is some players will be available, so we could have an all-stars team. And if anyone will get them ready for a gold medal, it'll be Gordon Titchens. What about the event itself as a showcase for Sevens? You don't get a better platform, do you? You're going to get full crowds and huge TV coverage.
Yeah, TV coverage is huge, you're right, and that's going to be the exposure. I don't think people realise, a lot of people I talk to say, oh, the Sevens is a bit of a circus. They need to go up north and just see what's happening in countries which we don't associate with rugby. If you go to the Swedens, the Portugals, the Brazils, these people have really, really got into it. And the thing about Sevens, which I love, is that it's a simple game. We can actually apply the laws of the game as referees. The players adapt to it. You've only got 4 people at the breakdown, so it's easy to educate the people who are watching it, saying this is a penalty, this is not a penalty, whereas at 15s it's very difficult. So I think you will find in the next couple of years the growth of Sevens is going to be huge.
And the nice thing about it too is a lot of aspects of 15s are still there. The set pieces still have a place to play.
Yeah, they do. I mean, we don't get too concerned about scrums and line-outs. The ball's still going to be thrown in straight to the line-outs. The scrums still have to be a platform. But it's a restart, and the game doesn't stop. I mean, the thing about 15s, if you have a penalty, it can take up to 1.5 minutes to take it while they decide what they're going to do. 7s, they tap, they're gone. You wouldn't even know the penalty's been given. So that's what the crowd like. It's just razzmatazz in action.
Well, we know our future at Q. What about yours, Paddy? How long are you going to sustain this? Because the travel must be just quite tiring at times. Yeah,
the travel's horrendous from at the moment. I just don't stop between now and June. But having said that, between June and the end of the year, it's a lot quieter. I love the job, and it's the only thing I don't like about it is the travel. So I'll weigh that up, but I can see myself, I'm a full-time employee. I get a lot of fun out of the Sevens. I get a lot of satisfaction out of seeing young referees doing better. I've got a fantastic team working for me. Look, I haven't reassessed it after Rio, but I think I'll probably have another couple of Olympics after that in me, Tom.
Well, thank you very much for being the first and last guest on South Today Sport.
Real pleasure, and all the best for the future, Tom.
So that wraps up our final show, and it's a fond farewell on behalf of everyone that's worked on South Today and of course all their predecessors, and we wish you all the very best for the future. Goodbye.
The following program. This offer is not available in any stores, so call now. The proceeding was a paid presentation for the Teen Years collection.
I'm using an amazing makeup that can sculpt, enhance and beautify all of our completely different skin tones in one simple compact. It's Thin Lizzy 6-in-1. It significantly reduces redness, the appearance of acne, dark under eyes, and gives you a gorgeous, healthy glow.
It took all my redness away, evened out my skin tone.
I look healthy and glowing and natural, and it stays put all day.
I love the way my skin looks.
Thin Lizzy is available at farmers and selected pharmacies.